Here are the stories we're covering this week in the Category 5.tv newsroom. A task force led by Spanish cops has dealt TV piracy a heavy blow after shuttering a network of illegal sports streaming sites operating across Spain, the UK, Denmark, Latvia, the Netherlands, and Cyprus. Stadia, a brand new game streaming service from Google, has been revealed, and it's powered by open source technology. Apple has unveiled its new TV streaming platform, Apple TV Plus, at a star-studded event in California, and a self-driving shuttle service is to be deployed in New York City by the middle of the year. These stories are coming right up. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Category 5.tv newsroom, covering the week's top tech stories with a slight Linux bias.
Jeff Weston,
Yeah, man.
you're building a brand new, beautiful website.
What?
Aren't you?
No. Am I?
Oh, you're a terrible actor.
What?
This is where acting comes into play.
Oh, I didn't know we were acting.
You're supposed to act.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
Yeah, I'm building a really cool website. Are you building a really cool website? Just because Jeff is confused doesn't mean you have to be. Visit cat5.tv/dreamhost to sign up for unlimited web hosting for your website with unlimited email accounts, MySQL databases, the latest version of PHP, WordPress, and more, and even a free domain name registration. It's less than $6 per month, so sign up today. cat5.tv/dreamhost.
I'm Sasha Rickman, and here are the top stories we're following this week. A task force led by Spanish cops has dealt TV piracy a heavy blow after shuttering a network of illegal sports streaming sites operating across Spain, the UK, Denmark, Latvia, the Netherlands, and Cyprus. Police arrested 5 suspects and identified 11 ramshackle data centers that were used to provide access to more than 800 channels in the largest operation of its kind in Europe. Illegal streaming is big business. A quick online search will find hundreds of websites that promised access to big sports events for cheaper than sports packages from authorized sources. Policia Nacional said that the investigation into this particular piracy ring started late 2015 after England's Premier League made a formal complaint against a streaming website based in Malaga. The cops soon found out that the criminals were running a highly organized setup, offering services on subscription with packages priced between £40 and £460 per month.
Euros.
Oh, euros.
Sorry, I just had to interject.
Subscribers have been identified in more than 30 countries. Spanish police said in the statement that the strategy used by the suspects was to use a multitude of servers and then change them periodically, gradually creating new web pages to form a framework that, in principle, had no relationship. In this way, they tried not to be detected by the national police and continue profiting from the crime. It is estimated that the criminal empire earned at least €8 million during the arrests. The police confiscated no fewer than 12 high-end vehicles.
Well,
so they were making a ton of money.
Oh, yeah.
Holy.
I mean, if I'm making €8 million, I'm going Lambo.
I guess so.
Yeah.
No, they're not flying under the radar. That's
yeah. How does something like this start? I mean, there's two sides to this, because there's this side where these types of streaming services give people a connection to home. So
right.
I can see how, so say I moved to the United States from an Eastern country, wherever, right? And I wanted to be able to tune into my native language programming. Mm-hmm. I definitely want to subscribe to those kinds of services so that I can access that programming from home.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and similarly, here in Canada, an English-speaking person such as myself, who would be hard-pressed to understand any other language, if I moved somewhere that, say they spoke Mandarin, I would just be absolutely lost if I was trying to find some entertainment. Right. And so tuning into a streaming service from back home in Canada would be fantastic. So what happens when there are places in the world whose TV networks are not provisioning that? And even here in Canada, so Rogers Cable TV. Right. If you go to Belize and try to watch your Rogers TV from Barrie, Ontario, Canada,
Yes.
it's going to block you because they use geolocation to say you're not in Canada, so you're not allowed to watch this.
Right.
So then we use a VPN tunnel and so on and so forth. But then if my physical address has moved to somewhere else in the world, I can no longer subscribe to that service because I don't have a Canadian address.
Right.
So it's like this double-edged thing where, yeah, there's probably...
There's a market for it and a need for it, right?
Yeah, it almost feels like maybe the broadcasters have got it wrong, like they ever get it wrong. But why am I having to subscribe to these services in order to get my native programming?
Right.
Could it not be the case that I, as a Canadian English-speaking individual, can subscribe to a Canadian service, broadcast service, and watch it from anywhere in the world? Like, that's the World Wide Web. Quit using geolocation to block me. No matter where I am, I want to be able to access it and use it and subscribe to it. And so that maybe pushes the end consumer to try some of these illegal services, which then boosts their revenues, which then, oh, well, I can actually get more programming for cheaper because it's illegal and they're streaming it all from these ramshackle studios, if you will. Speaking of ramshackle studio, welcome to Studio D, everyone. This is Category 5 TV. It's nice to have you here.
Okay, so here's what I was thinking about it. And I wasn't thinking in terms of the worldwideness of it. I was more thinking about the money side. So they're making a ton of money off of these illegal piracy streaming services. So people are paying for the service, but they're probably paying less than the pumped up prices that are being charged.
Yeah, they are, and that's a big problem.
So I think that maybe the argument could be just that the prices are too high in the legitimate field, because it's not that people aren't paying; they still are paying.
Right.
The pirates.
Who are they paying though?
They're paying an illegal.
Yeah. The copyright holders, the content creators are not the ones getting paid for that.
Right. So if they were to lower their expectations a little bit, like if they were to lower the bar and charge slightly less, they could be able to compete with the piracy people.
I like the way you think. Let illegal content drive down the price of legal content. But I don't think that's the way it works. But maybe if the legal content were provisioned in such a way that I can use it, I mean, and chat room, which you can't see during the newsroom, but maybe think that I have no clue because it's all copywritten material and Canadian content is licensed for Canadian distributorship and so on and so forth. But yes, I understand the CRTC and I understand regulations and telecommunication regulations and things like that. But could they not say, okay, well, we're going to be an international... This is all hypothetical. I don't mean this should be the way. I mean, in our world that is interconnected via the World Wide Web, should it not be the case where our broadcasting companies are pursuing being able to remove the borders? So whether that be copyrights, whether that be MPAA or RIA or whatever, CRTC, that we would remove those borders and say, okay, you're a Canadian citizen, or you are an American citizen, or you are from wherever, you are therefore legitimately allowed to access the content from the broadcast networks of that country.
That's common sense to me. I like that.
I like that.
Right? I don't know.
It doesn't address the fact that piracy still exists.
Piracy exists, and I feel like piracy will always exist if these structures are in place that block you.
But there are a couple of things that drive the piracy industry. One of those being cost is cheaper, so people can get the service cheaper. But the average consumer, the other cause of piracy being supported is because I can't legitimately get the content that I desire.
Right.
I buy DVDs from Amazon.co.uk and BBC.co.uk because I cannot buy my BBC shows and the Sky One shows from Canadian distributors. So when I receive those DVDs, they are region encoded to where? Canada? No, they're region encoded to Europe. So if I put them in a Canadian player, it doesn't play. So I have to crack those discs.
ridiculous.
It kind of is.
I don't get it. Like, I just don't.
We just should, for those who legitimately pursue the content, there should be no borders.
Right.
As simple as that. We live in a worldwide, web-connected world.
I'd vote for you, Robbie.
Absolutely has nothing to do with the fact that they just shut down a piracy ring, but you got me going.
Stadia, a brand new game streaming service from Google, has been revealed, and it's powered by open source technology. Long rumored, but only formally announced at Games Developer Conference last week, the cloud gaming service promises to let gamers game from pretty much anywhere they want.
See?
Yeah. There's no Stadia console, no box you buy and hook up to your TV. Instead, games run from a data center and are streamed to you via the internet. Games can be streamed at up to 4K and 60 frames per second, depending on your connection, of course. The dream of playing AAA games on Stadia on your crummy downstairs TV, your mid-range Android, or a laptop running Linux and Google Chrome is now real. Google designed a custom controller to accompany the service. The pad has built-in Wi-Fi and microphone, plus dedicated buttons for streaming games to YouTube and opening Google Assistant. In all, it's kind of like a more varied and more fancy and more accessible version of PlayStation Now, which is itself based on the short-lived OnLive service. Google has yet to reveal details on pricing and availability, but has said Stadia will launch this year in the US, Canada, UK, and most of Europe.
I love the idea of streaming gaming service, and we're finally probably there. I've seen some startups try this service, like these types of services, and fail because the technology just wasn't there. Now, Google, of all companies, being able to provision gigabit Ethernet to homes and everything else, like the infrastructure that they have. It's wonderful.
You know that I'm like a lover of like pretty much every way you could play a game. This will be something that I have.
Odroid Go for me, buddy.
Yeah,
Odroid Go
I have
for
one
me.
of those too.
Yes. Yeah,
I just
it's
love
awesome.
them all. I want to collect all the different ways to play a game. So thank you.
But this does away, so traditionally, now we've had this talk, sorry, backing up, so not traditionally. We had this talk a few weeks back about how platform, maybe it was a while ago, but how I can't play a Nintendo Switch game cross-platform on an Xbox One and so it becomes this like, okay, you can't, my kids can't play with their friends if they don't have the same gaming system.
Exactly.
This does away with that, and I love that. Again, I'm all about removing those borders and removing the restrictions when I legitimately own content. I feel like there shouldn't be restrictions on that content. So this takes those games, takes it away from you needing to have a super powerful gaming rig or a super powerful gaming console system, and instead puts it in the data center, puts it on Kingston DC 500 SSDs.
Of course.
Yeah, and fires it up, and it's playable through a streaming media connection. I don't know if there's going to be high latency. I imagine Google, of all companies, would have thought of that. There's going to be, you know, it's something that they're definitely going to work out. But you're actually playing it on their servers, and their servers are streaming the video in 60 frames per second back to your screen. So I can take it from my laptop in Chrome to my TV, to my phone, to my whatever device.
Exactly.
And there's no restriction on the platform. It doesn't make a difference.
I feel like when we talk, Google listens. Like, I just feel like they have...
They do.
hit the
Okay,
nail
Google.
on the head. They've hit the nail on the head.
Cancel. Sorry.
Completely.
I had to say it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But like, it's exactly what we need.
Remember that microphone in the controller?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're listening. They're listening. It's for gaming. It's so you can talk to the children in Fortnite.
Yeah.
That's what that microphone is there for.
We're not getting all shady on it. I really just love this idea completely, and we'll be getting one of these.
Now,
so I'll let you know how it goes.
So we've talked about cloud-based services, and now cloud-based gaming. That's what this introduces, and it doesn't matter if your friends are on whatever platform.
Exactly.
Whatever device. I can be playing it on my laptop. My daughter can be playing it on her phone. My son can be playing it on the TV downstairs.
And you could be in the same battle.
We can be playing together.
Yeah.
I love that. That's where the internet thing can take us.
Right. See?
And they're finally starting to catch on to this, Sasha. They're finally catching on.
Thank you for listening, Google. Apple has unveiled its new TV streaming platform, Apple TV Plus, at a star-studded event in California. Jennifer Aniston, Steven Spielberg, and Oprah Winfrey were among those who took to the stage at Apple's headquarters to reveal their involvement in TV projects commissioned by the tech giant. The platform will include shows from existing services like Hulu and HBO. Apple also announced that it would be launching a credit card, gaming portal, and enhanced news app. The event was held in California, and Apple Chief Executive Tim Cook was clear from the start that the announcement would be about new services, not new devices. It is a change of direction for the 42-year-old company. There's been a lot of anticipation about Apple's predicted foray into the TV streaming market, dominated by the likes of Amazon and Netflix. The Apple TV Plus app was unveiled by Steven Spielberg and will launch in the autumn. Spielberg will himself be creating some of the material for the new platform, he said. Other stars who took to the stage included Reese Witherspoon, Stephen Carell, Jason Momoa, Alfred Woodard, comedian Kamal Nanjiani, and Big Bird from Sesame Street.
Oh, well, if Big Bird was there.
Big Bird was there, so it's
nice.
golden. The app will be made available on rival devices for the first time, coming to Samsung, LG, Sony, Vizio Smart TVs, as well as Amazon's Fire Stick and Roku. The subscription fee was not announced, and notably absent from the launch lineup was Netflix, which had already ruled itself out of being part of the bundle. As far as the Apple Card credit card goes, it will launch in the US this summer. There will be both an iPhone and physical version of the card with a cashback incentive on every purchase. The credit card will have no late fees, annual fees, or international fees, says Apple Pay VP Jennifer Bailey. It has been created with the help of Goldman Sachs and MasterCard. So,
Apple
yes,
has this tendency. We think of them as innovators, but they have this tendency, and if you look at their history, this is true, you'll find, to follow. But when they follow, they clobber the competition. So when the iPhone came out, Nokia was the leader. And where are they now?
right.
So Netflix is not a part of this. Well, obviously, because guess what? Netflix is getting ready. Because
they know.
Apple follows, they perfect, and somehow they
manage to
get the
do
followership.
it.
Yeah. But now with this being available on other devices, so I can put this on my Android device too.
Yeah.
We're not limited to an Apple TV piece of equipment or an Apple iPhone piece of equipment.
Right.
So
This
now
is
all of a sudden it's accessible.
Smart.
Yeah.
This is really smart. And I've not been an Apple person myself.
No.
But this is smart. And I'd like to see.
And yet it's conniving.
I know. I'd like to see
It's
how
just the
it
way
goes.
they work. It's just the way they work.
I'm just team Netflix, and I feel like I don't want them to go.
Netflix has been doing some really awesome things, and Amazon is really starting to pick up the pace with Prime, and we're starting to catch on to that as well. So to have a third player is a good thing. But that it's Apple, we know they're just going to command and conquer.
I will say one thing. The whole credit card thing confuses me. But
yeah, it's like a
it just seems
smokescreen
like, and also we'll have a credit card.
Oh yeah, by the way, here you go. You know what? They get every student to have an Apple credit card,
and they will.
And it's like the McDonald's advertising when you're 3. It just gets in your head to the point when you're an adult. That's all that you know it.
So probably you could pay for Apple TV Plus with your credit card and get a discount on it. Right?
Whoa.
Probably is the way it happens. That's how they get you. Okay, well, you can do this.
It's like shopping with the Starbucks app.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, but we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. Will you subscribe to Apple TV Plus? They're really original with names, by the way.
Yeah.
Just waiting for the iPhone Plus to come out. But the Apple TV Plus, are you going to be a subscriber? I mean, Oprah is going to be on that.
Yeah, Reese Witherspoon. That's another thing, just to back it up for a second. Another thing where all of a sudden red flags go up for me is when it's that star-studded. That means that they know that the product itself might not sell itself. They need to pay a bunch of people to come and talk about how awesome it is. I'm just saying.
Will you subscribe? Comment below. That's all I ask.
A self-driving shuttle service is to be deployed in New York City by the middle of the year. Boston's startup Optimus Ride will run on vehicles on private roads at the Brooklyn Navy Yard site located on New York's East River. The shuttle will help workers get around the large site. Self-driving vehicles are being widely trialed around the world, but vehicles sometimes crash, and some regulators have halted tests. The cars are designed to operate in environments of 25 miles per hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see this working really, really well at campuses, or we've heard of using autonomous vehicles in zoos.
Right.
And things like that. That just makes sense.
Colleen, when I went to go visit her in Vancouver,
yes,
they use the SkyTrain. The SkyTrain is unmanned. It's.
Is it autonomous, or is it controlled by a remote person looking at a camera or something?
I don't know.
Don't know?
What I do know is you can sit as though you were the driver. The whole thing, there's not a spot, right?
Oh, yeah?
Right? So she sometimes will pick that spot, but then it's unnerving because then you realize there's not a person operating it.
Right.
And the only time that they ever need people operating it at all is if there's bad weather, and it's just for the person to press a button to say, oh no, that's just snow in the way. You can keep going. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely picturing somebody sitting eating donuts like Homer Simpson, just pushing the buttons throttle up, throttle down, throttle up, throttle down.
So I like it.
Yeah, that's really cool. Let's take a really quick look at CoinGecko, the cryptocurrency report for this week from Category 5 TV. And this is the market outlook as of 1800 hours Eastern Time on Wednesday, the 27th. Is it the 27th of March already? As far as when we're broadcasting live, Bitcoin has gone down just a little bit. Again, at this value, $4,000 plus, $3 loss is pretty minimal. You're not going to feel that, folks. Litecoin, however, has gone up a little bit at $61, which at that size, being $1.05 plus, is quite a gain. Ethereum is down just a little bit at $137.90 US. Monero sitting at $52.87, down $1.38 US from last week. The little guy, Stellite, is sitting at 1.61 ten-thousandths of a cent. Are you ready for this gain? They're a big gainer here.
Turtle coin?
Oh no, Stellite.
Stellite. Okay.
Gained over last week's numbers 0.01 ten-thousandths of a cent.
Huh. Way to go, Stellite.
I would call that static.
I would call that stellar. Are you kidding?
Turtle coin gained actually quite a bit. Considering last week it was sitting at just 0.7 ten-thousandths of a cent, it gained 0.46 in the past week.
See?
So it's up at 1.16 ten-thousandths of a cent. Remember, the cryptocurrency market never closes, and it's always volatile.
I will say I really love the little guys in this. Stellite and Turtle Coin. Love you. Big thanks to Roy W. Nash and our community of viewers for submitting stories to us this week. Thanks for watching the Category 5.tv newsroom. Don't forget to like and subscribe for all your tech news with a slight Linux bias. And for more free content, be sure to check out our website. From the Category 5.tv newsroom, I'm Sasha Rickman.
And I'm Robbie Ferguson.